I have this scary thought. I'm sitting in a chair, very comfortable, but I'm older, at least 85 years. Outside of the window, there is just some green, and on my lap, there is my great-grandchild. And we talk a bit. I ask her, what did you learn at school today? And she tells me. But then, she asked me this question. Granddad, the year 2020, you were there. When we started feeling climate change and we could still do something about it. When it was possible to solve poverty. And it was before the robots came. What did you do? Well, what can I tell her? Shall I tell her I had my concerns about technology and privacy? Shall I tell her that, well, I did good. I took the train instead of the car. I did not eat meat. But I imagine her look. Is that all you could do? Well, my grandfather, he told about the Second World War and about the resistance. Well, what's my story? There is this, it's a unique time. What's going on in the world? We have all the knowledge about it. But can we join a resistance? It seems like life is just continuing. Do we leave it to politicians or to multinationals or tech companies to decide the future? Or is there a role to play for us as individuals? Well, I think, of course there is. There must be. We're here now. But for this, I believe we need the most creative and visionary parts of ourselves. We need all to become artists. But you don't need to start drawing or make a rap song or a dance performance. No, it's the artist mindset that we need. Our faculty for beauty, for play, for imagination. We should not outsource that to professionals. Well, I'm such a professional. Look, here am I as a composer and conductor in the Royal Concertgebouw in Amsterdam. I was so proud to be there. It was my dream, of course. But I also realized there is something fundamentally weird about putting art there in this beautiful building and having like all these places in town indicated that there is art in a beautiful museum, a theater or a concert hall, or that art is really confined in these boxes. And even in our time, we have very specific times where art should take place. And we can also just see that, well, we put art at the place of land only when we have no use for it whatsoever. I believe art is needed in the middle of society. And we need art to make sense of the world around us. The world, it's not a machine. It's full of feelings, emotions. There is mystery there. So, how do we relate to that? Art can help us navigate through complexity. And, a few days ago, there was this terrible shooting in Utrecht. I felt confused. I had to think of, like 15 years ago, the assassination of Theo van Gogh. You must remember, the whole country was full of, fear and unrest, chaos, because this was a Muslim extremist from Moroccan descent. So how do we relate to that religion, culture? I decided to do something with musicians and cooks and singers from Morocco. we created a concert. Some pictures are here. We blindfolded the audience, so we could take them by the hand, take them, and then put them on some pillows on the floor. They could not see us, but the delicate sounds could reach them, and even the very refined smells and the physical touch of a different culture. We needed to involve all our senses to relate to each other, to make sense of each other, and to create this connection. Well, later, I traveled to the Middle East. There is this big wall in the town of Bethlehem. The Israeli government built it, and the local people, they feel powerless. Such a thing, imagine. I was speaking to them, and together with the children and the musicians, we created a concert. We thought music can be free, it can travel over the wall. So we started playing, and our music could reach the other side, and the answer came. And there was a sense of freedom. Later, I went to a refugee camp to work with the Syrian children. We made music, and imagine, they lost everything they had. But inside the play, inside the music, they could find a voice, they could express in some way who they are. That is a first essential step to a future. Well, these projects, they were not that big. They were like mainly incidents. And, well, I learned so much about the situations there. The complexity of these issues. In the Netherlands, still today, there is all this noise about cultural differences, migrants, refugees. But it's up to us if we let toxic news enter our minds. That's up to us. In Bethlehem, what I learned that this occupation of the land, well, people call it a conflict between people or religions. What's going on there? This is a real estate project. Imagine all the money involved building the settlements there. That is investments. It's money. It might be our money. We might be involved. And in Syria, well, I learned that there is this brutal dictator and the ISIS fighters, extremists. But what about climate change? A few years in a row before the unrest started, before the revolution, the crops failed. There was no rain there. People had to leave the land and travel to the cities, search for work. That was the background, that was the fuel for what came after it, the war. So we have climate change, there is poverty, extremism, terrorism, racism, capitalism. It's all a web. It's all connected. And we're all part of it. Imagine that we could find out that global warming would be caused by a secret weapon from aliens from outer space. You know what to do? I'm sure we would all fight because they want to extinguish us. Well, we have weapons too. We would crush them. But today, global warming, it's us, it's ourselves who are part of the cause, So who can we fight? I believe we need heroes, but a hero needs a dragon. And today, I can see a dragon. I see maybe mosquitoes everywhere. Or like invisible viruses to fight. But even if there is a dragon, only when the dragon starts poisoning the land or kidnaps a loved one, that's the moment that the hero rises. He takes the weapons. And there, I'm worried. I'm really worried. Because can we see the beauty of the world? Do we realize what's at stake? You know, there's beautiful documentaries about dolphins and giraffes. But do we hear the birds sing ourselves? Did anyone see the sunrise this morning? Do we even perceive the spring that's in the air? For this, we need sometimes to stand still, to be open, to slow down the judgment that we have, to ask different questions, to see connections, and then to find a place where you can make a difference. So, to stand still, can we be fascinated? To be open? Do we see the beauty? To slow down the judgment? Can we see beyond the surface? To ask a different question, do we find our voice? Then to see connections, do we have the capacity to zoom out once in a while? And then to see a place where we can make a difference, where we can create things, build things. You know, all of this, you know who can do that? That's the artist. For 40,000 years, artists helped us to face the unknown and the mysteries of life. They showed us beauty and wonder. They could tell stories about who we are, about our community, and our relation with the living world. But today, we lock the artist up. We build beautiful buildings for it, special places, special times. But we need art right away in the middle of society to make sense of this world. Art is a mindset. It helps us seeing things. It helps us to relate between, well, what we know and what we don't know. Between the here and now and a future that we want. Between the world of today and an inclusive, sustainable and healthy planet. Well, for this, everyone is needed. It's not just the specialist that we can outsource it to. But only if we know how to show the beauty to others. Only if we know how to share our imagination of a better world. And only if we know how to show to others the fact that we care. Only then the others will see that they're not alone in this fight. So make sure that you can tell your grandchild, actually, that the dragon almost killed us. I mean, we felt paralyzed and overwhelmed in this time. But then, that you could find there was actually a hero sleeping there. And it could rise up. Tell your grandchild that we could kill that dragon when we discovered we had an artist mindset, where we could see the beauty and share our imagination for a better world, when we found our own role to play. Thank you.